This is the Wealthy Wednesday Show with your host, Lucy McMonagle, a money manifestor, coach, and public speaker who's on a mission to helping you create more wealth in your life and business. This show will inspire and empower you with various topics and has expert guests. Let's welcome your host, Lucy McMonagle.
Hi, and welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle, and it's such a pleasure to have a phenomenal guest for you this week. Her name is Cynthia Trevino, and she has worked with businesses big and small, startup founders, authors, entrepreneurs, and experts to increase customers and income since she's co-founded Resonnect in 2001. Cynthia has more years of combined corporate and entrepreneurial experience than she likes to count. She applies it to helping clients create marketing that increases their income and frees them so that they can do more of what they love. She also helps entrepreneurs to launch books, blogs, products, programs, events, and companies by executing practical strategies that fit their business, their clients, and their income goals. So let's give Cynthia a warm welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show. Welcome to the show, Cynthia.
Thank you, Lucy. It's great to be with you. This is going to be so much fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. You are a dynamo when it comes to being a start-over specialist. And you have a new book, which is the RockStar Success Stories. And could you tell us a little bit about your business?
Absolutely. Thanks, Lucy. Once again, it's great to be with you and your viewers. I work with amazing entrepreneurs. I have the best job in America, I think. And the entrepreneurs I work with inspire me every day. And I work with them so that they can get clarity, first of all, because generally when I start working with someone, something isn't quite working in their business. They're spending a ton of time doing networking. They're spending a ton of time doing marketing, social media, articles, and things aren't landing. They aren't connecting with the people they serve best. And they feel like they're on the hamster wheel doing more and more and getting less and less results. So my role is really fundamental, the fundamentals of marketing. Who is your perfect customer? Who do you love to serve? Who do you get the best results for? And then how do I help them craft messages so they can really connect with those people? And it's really the basics.
Wow. Well, those might be the real basics for you, but there's so many entrepreneurs, they're really good at what they do, or they're authors, or they're bloggers, and they're really good at that piece of their business. But a lot of times when we say the basics of marketing, people have this look like, and then they feel like screaming because marketing is almost synonymous, and we're gonna whisper this real slight. Some people think it's salesy,
yes,
and it's really not. And you are able to really empower individuals, these entrepreneurs, with getting their message clear so that people can understand. And knowing that you work in the field of the start-over specialist, and you've been able to help entrepreneurs and events and individuals to really execute these, can you tell us what are some of the biggest frustrations that you hear from entrepreneurs when it comes to finding more clients, more customers, and increasing their income?
You know, that's such a great question, Lucy. One of the biggest things I'm hearing lately from entrepreneurs is, once again, they're doing so much networking. They're doing so much with social media because you really have to be out there on so many different places. You need to be on Facebook. You need to be on LinkedIn. You need to be on Twitter. And then, the new shiny object of the day, the Snapchats, all of those. And there's a few frustrations. The first one I hear is entrepreneurs, they're go-getters. They're do whatever it takes to get the job done people. That's why they're entrepreneurs. And they're working really hard, and they build a marketing program, and they put out content and blogs and podcasts and books, and they do all of this wonderful content, and they attract people. And then as they have prospects, and then you have the traditional funnel, and then there's prospects stay longer and longer, and they finally get to a sales conversation. Yes, right?
Yes.
Someone takes their freebie, someone opts in for a free strategy session, people hear them speak, they rush up to the stage, and it's all wonderful. But what I'm hearing now is too many of those sales conversations, those strategy sessions, don't go anywhere, because at the very end of it, the prospective client doesn't want to buy. They're not ready. They don't think it's worth it. They've got to talk to their spouse. There's a myriad of reasons. And there's so much frustration, because look at all of the effort and energy and resource and time and money that's gone in to get to this sales conversation, right? The strategy session. And so that's a lot of frustration. And honestly, sometimes entrepreneurs will say to me, sometimes I wonder, after I have a few of these in a row where the prospect doesn't buy, I feel worthless, or I feel like, why am I even doing this business? And so what I find is that's such a big frustration, because it's, a long time frame to get to these sales conversations that don't go anywhere. And so that's when I begin to peel back the onion and help them. Let's get clear, first of all, on who you want. Who do you want to work with? Let's review who you've gotten the very best results for in the past. Then you build your marketing and your messaging so you attract more of those people. And bonus, by being very specific with your marketing and your messaging, you can repel the time wasters, the tire kickers, right? Do you know what I mean, Lucy?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you have the appropriate message, people, when they get to a strategy call or a discovery call, or however you work your business, when you get to the sales call, people are not saying, I'm not really sure what you're offering, but I'm going to take whatever's free from you because I want something that I think you're going to give me. Or your some strategy calls that some individuals in the past have said to me is, oh, well, I thought this was going to be more woo-woo rather than practical, or like they have these preconceived notions
Yes.
of what you're offering.
Yes.
And some of them are they just want to know, oh, how do you operate so that I can take notes and then copy you because you're successful.
Yes.
And doing the right marketing and relaying the right message will eliminate most of those conversations that you're having. And then you're not pulling your hair out and frustrated and wondering why you started this business in the first place.
Exactly.
Correct?
I agree with you. That's absolutely the case. I hear that so often. And the other thing is, I think that what entrepreneurs, because when we start our businesses, we have this we want to serve everyone, right? And as heart-centered, conscious, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, business owners, we're so good. We're all good at what we do in our own silo, our own space. And when you talk to an entrepreneur and you say, well, who do you serve best? Well, men between the ages of 40 and 60 who are getting ready to retire, well, that's still, right? Or women between the ages of 40 and 50 who have been divorced. Well, if you think about it, it's still a very giant, broad net, right?
Right, exactly.
And so what I guide the entrepreneurs I work with is let's really get into the mindset let's get it. That marketing, you want to, this is really one of those phrases that has been said so many times in marketing, but I'm going to say it and then I'm going to give you what I believe it means.
Okay.
I think it comes from the advertising industry in the 1920s or whenever advertising got big in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Meet the customer where she is in her mind. So you want to meet her with what she's thinking in her head, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you want to do with an ad. But that's what you want to do with your marketing, your content, your messages, the way you introduce yourself. So the way to understand what's going on in her head is to, or his mind, depending on who your perfect client is to really drill down and understand what's their circumstance, what's their state of mind. For instance, let's just take divorced women. There's wonderful healers and coaches, right, that help women transition, move on from a divorce after a long marriage, decide whether they need to go back to work, and all those. Thank goodness we have people who are gifted at that, right?
Correct.
So those are not my skills, but thank goodness, because I meet people who really need that sort of person to guide them and coach them. And so, but if you think about a divorced woman, there's all these different stages, right? Just like there's stages of grief, there's stages of readiness. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's still in crisis. Maybe she's still in shock. Maybe she's gotten over the shock, but she doesn't want to know. She doesn't want to do. She just wants to sit, and she goes out to lunch with her friends. Maybe she's starting to think there's something else. So if you think about an arc from, oh my gosh, my husband's leaving me after 30 years of marriage and, raising children, and all the way over to, I'm ready to move on. I've had it. I'm going to start my own life. My kids can take care of themselves. My ex-husband can do what he wants. I'm going to find a new relationship. So between those two extremes, right, you want to find the person that you help best.
Correct.
And you want to find the person who's ready to make a change. Don't you find that in your work also?
Absolutely. When people are truly ready to start doubling and tripling their income, and that's when they're ready to do the work. Because you can't just double and triple your income by waving a magic wand and saying, okay, I'm going to do just this much. And I expect to get this much. And it doesn't necessarily work like that. So I do understand that when women or men or entrepreneurs are really, they're ready. It's like they're going to give it their all. They're going to move forward. They're going to move past it. And then they have different elements that are really important for them to overcome. And there's like a life cycle for entrepreneurs like you were saying, there was a life cycle on where this woman, if she was divorced. Well, same thing with entrepreneurs. If you're starting here, you go through different stages.
Right.
And for your ideal customer or your ideal client, what stage are they in? So you can give us an example on yours. We use yours as an example because you obviously know them the best. and so how does that work when it's like, okay, so this is my ideal client. I've figured out kind of like these logistics. Can you fill in the blanks for us?
Absolutely. So when entrepreneurs first start their business, they're learning what they do. It's so heady with excitement because you're your own boss. You could, make your own schedule and it's wonderful. And then you begin to gradually learn. Things go really well because you have, referrals from maybe your old corporate life and you're doing something similar and people, but then those sort of taper off or they sort of disappear or they're not as frequent. And then you start trying different things in your marketing. And maybe, so the kind of person I work with has been in business for a few years. And it's a woman who has sort of tried it all. She's tried the social media. She's done the Facebooking. She's, started a blog. She's done a couple videos. She's been to every networking event on the planet. She goes to industry events, and she's still, something isn't landing. And so what I find is, after you've been in business for a while, you need a reset. You need to just get more clarity. Okay, let's get clear on, this is what you do best, and this is who, and mostly when I ask people if they have, when I start to work with someone, I ask them, do you have a perfect client? Oh, sure. And they'll tell me a little bit. I go, well, could I see the document? And they say, this is the deer in the headlights. Look, the what? I mean, it's just, obviously I am a marketing geek. I love this stuff. But in the normal course of things, people say, well, I might have done that, but so it's not something that's top of mind for them. So we just go back to the basics, but the kind of person I work best with, they're collaborative, and they've tried things where you go to an agency or you go to a consultant and you say, I want this kind of marketing, and they ask you a lot of questions and they come back. But if they give you something, if somebody gives you something, Lucy, like, oh, here's your client, here's your messages, you look at it, you weren't involved in its creation, were you?
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So how would you feel about using messages that are like, really? So it all has to come from inside each entrepreneur. So the kind of person I work with best is roll up her sleeves, a go-getter. She's tried everything else. She's getting ready to do something. Maybe she's finishing a book. Maybe she's going to increase her speaking engagement. She wants to be on bigger stages. And she just wants to fine-tune and really spend less time with time wasters. Eliminate as many of the tire kickers and the whiners and the complainers. And so she's ready to do the work and to get clarity and to go back to these basics about who she serves best, who she wants to serve. And we do work through exercises to get the messages out. And then we do content planning, which is like content planning. I know if you're not in marketing, it sounds so boring, but think of the New York Times, right? So the New York Times, every fall, they're getting ready for the next year. So in September, right. So then they do an editorial calendar. And they say, in January, we're going to talk about, New Year's resolutions that are never fulfilled, and everybody needs to lose weight. Those are the themes in January, right? In February, it's Valentine's Day and ski trips. So just like there's things to talk about, with a content plan, an entrepreneur, I help them map out all the different issues that their particular clients are dealing with, the frustrations of their customers, and come up with themes for content so that they're talking always about things that are important to their customers. Does that make sense?
That is brilliant. Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And I've talked with a lot of different content managers, and they talk about this editorial calendar. And I'm sure my audience has heard, I need an editorial calendar. I need to do social media. But nobody has ever explained it like you just explained it, where, okay, this is talk about the issues that your client is having. So at the beginning of the year, if you're an entrepreneur, and let's say you're starting your speaking career or whatever, a lot of the issues are people are recovering from the holidays. They might feel sad or blue because now they're not with their family anymore. They are starting to get the credit card bills in from the Christmas. And so those are issues that in January, as an abundance breakthrough coach, I would be talking about ways that you can pay off your credit card debt.
Yes, yes.
In February, you could learn how to fall in love with yourself and fall in love with money management, or etc. So that's really, really, that is such gold right there. But obviously, because a lot of individuals have not done this, having you holding their hand is crucial for their success, because we can come up with a few ideas for content and everything, but you really empower who is the new ideal client, really getting inside their head and where the client's at now.
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
throughout all of my courses. And I'm going to reveal a very, very deep secret here to everybody, so lean in.
Okay, this is,
I was
everybody, we're hearing it here first, right? Yes.
Yes. I was an e-course junkie. I took program after program after program for a while before I actually started my business. And not a single one of those ever explained an ideal client from where she's at now and explained the cycle that the clients go through. So if you're listening to this show, push the rewrite button and re-listen to what Cynthia just said, because that is golden, absolutely golden.
And I find, because marketing is a big, slushy, wonderful, delicious stew of different approaches and tools,
Yes.
the new and every day with tech. It's all great.
It is.
And still we all need, each entrepreneur serves a different, unique customer, and each entrepreneur is unique. And there are people who will learn better from Cynthia, people learn better from Lucy, people learn better from Marianne or from John. So there's all these different styles of and connections. So along with getting where they are with their customers, I also guide them to narrow down on the top core problems, that the top 5 problems that each of their customers are just, these are the, I'll pay anything to solve this problem. I want to solve this problem in the next 30 days. I have tried this many things and I still have this problem. Do you have clients like that when they get to you?
Yes, when they get to me, they've already hired this person, that person, this person, that person. They've gone through a whole a la carte of different people who are very, very good at marketing, very good at managing. But the individual, they may have gotten some success and they didn't, and they kind of went back and forth with other people. Not to say that none of them were good. It's when you see different entrepreneurs, when you see different coaches, it's kind of like a stair step.
Yes.
And some of the clients that I've worked with is they were at level 1 and they hired a level 5 coach. The level 5 coaches teaches level 4, not level 2 where level 1 should. So you have these people who are just starting out hiring high-end coaches or high-end companies or whatever it is when they haven't quite gotten to the next level. And it's not anybody's fault. There's no right or wrong. It's just sometimes we have this issue that we need solved right now, that we would like to, go to the top. We just want to go to the top right now. But looking at it, and if you're an entrepreneur, look at where you're at. And then look at what's the next step. And then from that point, look at who would be best serving you.
I agree because there'll be lots of times when I'll sit down with people and they're just in the very beginning stages and they're not sure what they want to do. And, I have a few friends that I refer them to and colleagues, because there are people who are gifted at helping an entrepreneur who has a ton of really good ideas, narrow it down, because when you're first starting in business, you need to sort of take care of one type of a problem, right? Help a certain, kind of person and just get started, right? But if they've got 5 or 6 things and they can't narrow it down, I'm not their person, because that's not my skill. That's not where my skills are. So, exactly. And you've got to know yourself. You've got to know what you do best. So the kind of work I do is somebody who has, as you said, tried a lot of things. They've learned how they can know how to do. They know how to do social media, which they know how to create a post. They know, but the essence of it, the message, the core of it, who's it speaking to? That's what's missing. And, and so I love working with people because like in that stage for me, because they understand that something's broken, and it's better to just take a couple of steps back. Not that you're going back in your business. You're sitting down and you're doing some clarity work. I call it, getting really clear. Just get crystal clear on who you serve best and where they're at. And then all the other things, you can go back and do them, and you can make even faster progress because you already know how to do all of those. You're just coming back with a sharper sense, a more fine-tuned message. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And fine-tuning it and sharpening it is really important as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, because every once in a while we need to do that. And that way we're staying on top of what's current. And as we have grown, our ideal customer may have grown also.
Exactly.
And so that's important to really understand. I like doing my ideal customer once every couple of years, sometimes more. I did it. I was doing it. I was honing it and tweaking it. The first year was like it was kind of like this, and then as I got to know her better, and I've worked with individuals like that, I started tweaking it, and I'm still tweaking my ideal client here and there to make sure that I'm staying current with what her needs are as my skills and abilities develop and grow.
Exactly. And I'm so glad to hear you say that, Lucy, because I talk to really successful entrepreneurs that say they revisit and they refine their perfect client description a couple of times a year. And I met one man who is this great entrepreneur here in San Diego, and he has a top-rated podcast. His name is John Lee Dumas.
Mm-hmm.
John Lee Dumas, and I met him a couple of years ago, and he talks about he gives a description of his perfect client, and I said, how long did it take you to refine that? When I spoke with him after he gave his presentation, he said 8 months. And I was so impressed because, not that many entrepreneurs have the patience. So he said he honed it for 8 months. Mm-hmm. And, he was wildly successful with his podcast. And it's like if you think about your perfect customer, there was a man named Peter Drucker, Dr. Peter Drucker, mm-hmm. who he lived until 2005, and he authored 39 books in his lifetime. He was a management expert, professor, speaker. I mean, just one of those. He's credited. Peter Drucker is credited with sort of founding management science as a science in the 70s. Mm-hmm. 70s. And he has a lot of quotes. My favorite quote of his is, the sole purpose of a business is to create a customer. So customers are the foundation. And once you have your perfect customer defined, you make better decisions, not just about your marketing, your messaging, but about your entire business.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Don't you take when you learn something new, and as you said, customers shift, evolve, the market's evolving, people are getting smarter and smarter and smarter. Mm-hmm. We're all reading more. We can have 12 books at the same time on Kindle, right? And just flip through and say, what do I want to read today? And so, as you said, your client shifts, so you want to stay in tune with that so that you can speak to where they're going, where they're evolving to, what their new goals, what their new focus is, what their new, 3-year dreams are. Mm-hmm. And it's just huge. And the other real benefit is that once you start getting clarity, once you get to know your customer as a person and a complete person, you will less and less will you fall into the trap of talking about your services. Because you only want to talk about your services after a customer says, Lucy, I've got to work with you. Tell me about right? Mm-hmm. Because I think too many entrepreneurs, when they say, when they introduce themselves, they say, well, if they're an accountant, well, I'm an accountant and we do tax planning and we do debt, and it's like a Chinese menu they're reading, right? Of services they do. Well, services aren't what's important when you first meet someone, is it?
No, not in the least.
So I find that when someone's invested a deep understanding and developed their own deep knowledge of who their customer is as a complete person, and then that way when you revisit it, you don't have to spend as much time. You tweak it. You start to hear themes recurring in your prospects or in even with your colleagues or certain blogs or websites that you follow. You begin to see new themes cropping up. And then you sit back and think about your perfect client. How's this affecting her? As you said, obviously, especially in your field, if there's a giant stock market shift or another recession or something else that comes out of, government at some level, and that can impact how she does her business. Or maybe once her kids, or she has to start getting her kids ready for college, or, she's thinking about retiring and she wants to travel around the world, right? Or she wants to take her grandchildren on a trip to Machu Picchu in South America, or, so there's these different stages. And once you really start to know who you serve best, they become real to you, and it's easier to tweak, and you'll go, I wonder what my perfect client is. I have a couple of little tricks to add for your audience. Would you like to hear?
Absolutely. Yes. Please tell us a couple of little tricks, and then also tell us about how do people get a hold of you, and if you have any other gifts or goodies for people.
Okay, absolutely. Yes, thank you. I'll do that. Well, there's 2 tricks that I like to do. One of them is give your perfect client a name. So that you just say to yourself, what would Jill think of that? That's my perfect client's name, Jill.
Okay.
And the second one is find a picture somewhere in a magazine or online of someone that you believe represents your perfect client. And along with your description that you keep near your computer when you're working, just pin her picture up so that when you're creating a new blog, you're writing a new article, you remember who she is. Because remember, we always want to write or video or speak to the one person, right? We'll attract more, but we want to talk as though she's sitting 3 feet across the table from us, right?
Exactly.
So so those are 2 tricks that people like the idea of finding a picture and putting it up. So we're also visual, right? It's like doing a vision, like doing a vision board. So actually, I do have a gift at my website. It's a little hard, but it's cytrevino.com. So it's the letter C and then Y. My middle name is Yvonne, so it's C-Y Trevino at C-Y-T like Tom, R like Robert, E like Edward, V Victor, I-N-O.com. And if you go there to my homepage, you can sign up for my newsletter, and I have a guide to identifying your perfect client. It's my free gift to you. Just go and enter your email name, and you'll be able to download the guide.
Wow. And that's at your website is C as in cat, Y as in
yes,
and then Trevino, which is Trevino.
Yes.
What was the rest?
.com. cytrevino.com. Yes.
Okay. cytrevino.com.
Yes.
And then you'll get a free
we have
ideal
a
guide.
My gift for you is a free guide on how to get clarity about your perfect customer, 5 steps to follow in a little tiny ebook, a little tiny PDF. Yes.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes.
And plus they'll be able to get your newsletter so that they can keep abreast on how you do your marketing.
Exactly. And also, if they'd like to, on my Facebook page, I have a couple of short videos I've just put up. I did my first videos.
Awesome.
Yes. And it's it's Facebook, Cynthia Trevino Mentor.
Okay. Cynthia Trevino, mentor on Facebook.com.
Yes, on Facebook.com. Yes.
Thank you, Cynthia. That was fabulous. And I do know we went a little bit over the time, but your information was so golden. And I am so grateful that you've been on the Wealthy Wednesdays show. So thank you for
thank you. Thank you, Lucy. It was so much fun. It was great. I enjoyed it so much.
Absolutely. So I'd like to, is there any last parting words you'd like to say to the audience real quick?
I would say every week, as you start your week and you're planning your week early on Monday or late on Sunday night, just open your journal or a blank piece of paper, have a glass of wine or a cup of tea, your favorite beverage, and just write down some thoughts. What do you think your current customers, your perfect customers, thinking today as she gets up to start her week? What's going on in her head? You'll be surprised what you'll be able to write.
Wow. Oh, that's a really good tip. Really good tip. So thank you for being on the Wealthy Wednesday show. And I would like to thank you, my audience, for listening to the Wealthy Wednesday show. It's because of you that the Wealthy Wednesday started out as a podcast, and now it's an ETV show. We are listed on Blog Talk. We're listed on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and iHeartRadio. So please tell your friends about the Wealthy Wednesday show. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com, Wealthy Wednesday Show, and like our Facebook page. Put some comments on our page. Let us know what topics you would like to hear from. And if you would like to get a hold of me personally, because you're ready to have your abundance breakthrough and you're really serious about moving forward and shattering your money story that's holding you back, my website is lucymcmonagle.com. That's LucyMcMonagle.com. So until next time, abundant blessings.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Wednesday show with Lucy McMonagle. That's on every Wednesday. Join us next time for more inspiration and empowerment from various topics and expert guests. To personally contact Lucy McMonagle, visit LucyMcMonagle.com. That's LucyMcMonagle.com. Until next time, many blessings.